guys sometimes. Hello, my name is Dave. Today I wanted to talk to you about my Powermatic 15HH planer. The HH is helical head. I bought this just this week. I had a lot of thoughts about it while I was searching for it. And one of the big problems I ran into was simply, again, hardly any information about the specific planer. Most of the stuff was stuff put out by Powermatic, a few people doing a walk around, that kind of thing. But I was really looking for a little bit more. I wanted to know how well it went together, how did it sound, how did it plane, just the what about it. So what I decided to do was show you the whole show, everywhere from it being delivered. You know, there's a lot of squawk about when you get a street side delivery and a residential that perhaps the trucking company will only put the equipment in the street and you have to deal with it. Well, I've had over here a 1,000-pound lathe delivered, a 900-pound bandsaw delivered, and now a 500-pound planer delivered. And each driver has graciously brought the tool up into my shop or my garage. And as you'll see in part of the video, I have a fairly steep driveway to come up. So what I wanted to talk about as well was, I think some people have an anxiety when they have to assemble a machine. And this machine assembly was quick, easy, and I did it as one person. All there was to put together was you had to bolt on the infeed, or in this case the outfeed and the infeed table. You had to attach the hand wheel, that's one bolt right here, and then screw on the handle. You had to attach the power box to Allen set screws, and you had to attach the dust hood vent, and that was 6 screws total. And the most time-consuming thing was leveling up these tables. Not a terrible process, certainly an easy process, and I made a discovery which you'll find, and it had to do with the shipping container that it came in. So let's get to it. This shouldn't take too long at all. I didn't do too much talking through this one. I'm pretty famous for too much talking. So anyway, let's get to it. I think you'll find it helpful. I'm already enjoying this planer. A little bit of a learning curve. I had another one years ago, but I have to learn a few things, a little quick reading, a few YouTubes. I'm sure I'll have everything down in no time at all. So let's get ready to receive, assemble, and demonstrate. All right, thanks so much. Talk to you real quick.
I'll grab the extra drill, okay? Open it up and check it out. Apologize for that. Hold on.
Alrighty, I just wanted to show you. I'm going to attempt to pick this off the pallet with the engine hoist. First thing I had to do and I hope it works, is shoot it forward on the pallet a little bit so that I can pick it up. Now my fear is it's going to swing a little bit, so I'm going to do it pretty slow, and I think that'll work out just fine. Alright, let's take a look. Okay, remember we only need to pick this up about a ½ an inch or so to get it off the pallet. So let's see what happens. This could be a giant mistake or a good idea. Problem I have is my engine hoist, the legs on it don't quite pick it up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have lift off. Well, okay, one of the things that I was interested in was how well does it move on its own casters. I had read that it was rock solid, and I'm curious to see. So let's give it a little push and let's see what we feel. Very easy. Now, one thing that one of the critics of the machine talked about was that it did not turn easily. Let's see. I think that's pretty impressive. Not a problem, frankly. Okay, it's time to move on. You saw how the planer was sitting on the pallet. The only thing, everything was together. You have the two in-feed and out-feed tables. This box contained the dust chute and the rest of all of this. And the magnetic switch is on the planer. It's already wired in there, and all you have to do is attach it. So we're looking at 2 or 3 screws there. So what came? The dust chute, in-feed and out-feed table, a hex wrench, 10 extra blades for the helical head, the hand wheel, and this is hefty. It's quite heavy. I'd guess it to weigh about a pound, pound and a half maybe. The handle, the key, the nut to hold it on, that's that. The screws for aligning the in-feed and out-feed table. Not sure what these were just yet. Allen wrenches, and it did come with the 2 open-ended wrenches you'll need. Also, you've got the manual, and the manual came in 3 separate languages, and of course your registration card. So I know a lot of times when people buy a big tool, they have this anxiety of, oh my gosh, I have to put this whole thing together. Well, the factory settings are already done, and you don't have to worry about that. And the in-feed and out-feed table have 1, 2, 3 screws for each table. That's really easy. Everything else is pretty well done. All you're going to do is line up these tables so that they're flat with a platen, and that should be about it. Oh, the other thing is to put the plug on, It does take a 30 amp plug. I have a twist lock, which I enjoy because I bring my power down from the ceiling, and I may go to a slightly longer power cord only because of the distance to my my receptacle. Maybe not. We'll see. So now it's time for me to start cleaning things up. I got to get the Cosmoline off the in-feed and out-feed table. I'll get them waxed before I put them on. That makes it easier. And then we'll see what happens after that. All right? Thanks. Well, okay. Let's open up the box with the in-feed and out-feed tables. See what we got. There we go. You wondered? Yep, heavy. Let's see what we can get off with a towel. Oh, that's pretty nice. I don't think this was your grandfather's Cosmoline. That comes off really nice. Wow. Finish her off with a little WD-40. I thought I was going to have to sit and let this cook for a while. Beautiful table. One more. There we go. I thought I was going to have to cover this and walk away and come back to it. That's pretty darn nice. Alright, all I need to do is put some wax on that. That's something else. Alright. Well, I think it's safe to say we're good. What I gotta do now is put some Johnson's paste wax on them. And that'll set that. We'll be right back. Alright, I use Johnson's paste wax. I have for at least 30 years now. All of my tables still pretty much look like this. I do it a couple times a year in particular. But there's a lot of products you can use. But this one is tried and true, easy to use, easy to come by. One can will last you quite a long time. Your wood will slide very nicely. There's no silicone in it to disrupt the finish. I'll go get that front face. I just use a t-shirt. All high tech, you know. Alright, I usually put 2 coats on. Fills in the grains, leaves a nice finish. I don't think you really want to watch me do all of that. So let me break away, finish my job, and then we'll keep moving. Alright, here's our in-feed and out-feed tables. 2 coats of wax. Again, it's just Johnson's paste wax. Nice and smooth. Comes up very well. Certainly easy to do. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's move on. Okay, time to put the handle on. So, as I mentioned, this feels like it weighs about a pound and a half. As you can see, it's very nicely made, very nicely machined and cast. There's room right there for a little key. I'll show you that in a second. When you get to our parts bag, got a little decal we're going to put on. Here is the key, nut and a washer. Supplied open end wrench, and then you'll need a 16mm wrench to tighten this little bolt down. So let's get to it. Hang on. Alrighty, first thing we're going to do is put our little decal on. Peel the back off. Make sure we orient it over the hole. Alright. All it says is low and high. I've already put the little key in the slot. It fits in there pretty snug, so I think I'll just leave it there. Then all we gotta do is line it up. Slides on real nice. Put the washer on. Put the nut on. There we go. Yeah, it looks like we'll go to a socket wrench for that. And then it tells us all we got to do is screw the handle on. Nice. And tighten the handle with a 14mm. We're set. Up and down on our table. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Alright, now we're going to put the starter box on. Quick note, I'm putting the hand wheel on. The directions say you need a 16mm to turn that nut. It is actually a 17mm to turn that nut on the hand wheel. Just a side note. On this one, we're going to use this Allen and this Allen. It's a 5mm, which is supplied. So all I gotta do is unscrew it. Got a hunch I should have done this ahead of time. You have to suffer through. Alrighty, so all we gotta do, thread them back in. Alright, you get the picture. All you got to do is thread them back in. I have brand new glasses today. I'm having a hard time focusing on stuff here. Alright, let's move on. Well, alrighty. So today we're just going to put the 2 tables on, in-feed and out-feed. Then we also have the dust extraction hood to put on. And then we do have the power cord to put on. So that shouldn't take us too long at all. Now, I don't have a helper, and I suppose many people don't. I asked my bride to come out and do it, but yeah, she doesn't want to be on the camera. So, excuse me. So I realized that I still had the box that the tool came in. Now in the instructions, it asks you to save the box, don't dismantle it until you get the whole thing together, just in case there's an incident where you may have to send the machine back. Well, I did some quick measuring, and I realized that one side of the box was the perfect height to put the table on with. So I practiced for a little bit this morning, and hey, it works great. So in a few moments, we're going to go ahead and put the 1 feet table on, spin the lathe around, spin the planer around, and see how well this all works. Okay, let's give this a go. Now I pulled the box back just a little bit so I could get my arm in here easy enough. Locate the hole. Well, this is pretty exciting stuff, watching a guy screw a bolt in, isn't it? Alright, there's 2 in. Okay. Put a grub screw in. Alrighty. That worked out pretty easily. Not bad. Okay, so we're nice smooth seam right now, and I hope you can see with the straight edge that we don't have a gap anywhere. It's just where it should be, but in all fairness and honesty, it wasn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be. It did take some fidgeting to get it nice and smooth, but from the time I turned the camera off a few minutes ago, it probably took me another 8 minutes to get it all level, 8 to 10 minutes quite frankly. So all I got to do now is the other table, and then we'll get back to putting on the dust extraction shroud, and that's about it. Okay, so let me cut away, turn around, I'll go ahead and put the other outfeed table on, and then we'll get back to it. Thank you. So now we put the shroud on. See, they've made this part fun. Jeez. Just tighten up the top ones and we'll call it. Now this is the supplied wrench. Use the Allen wrench on the bottom. Bottom did take a little bit longer because it's hard to get to underneath here, especially this middle one. But we're in there perfect now. So all we have left to do now is put the cord on, or put the plug on the cord. So that'll about do it. Let's finish that up and then see what it sounds like, alright? Okay, let's take a look at the cutter head. I've already loosened up all these screws to get off of here. go. There's 6 of them. Alright. Looks pretty nice. Let me reposition and we'll take a look at it. Well, I did want to make a point to show you the cutter head. Now this is the helical head. I believe it's made by Helical at this point. And there are 74 individual cutters in 3 banks, I believe it is on here. So the advantage of them is that they are a carbide cutter. Each of them is perfectly aligned. Each of them sits in its own machined area, and it will seat perfectly each time. So there's no using the gauges like we did with the traditional planer heads, or trying to align the heads or the blades so perfectly. Now to change them, you need the star wrench that comes with it, and of course they have supplied us with 10 extra for the just in cases, I guess is the best way to put it. I'll take one out of here to show you. So here we go. So 4 very sharp sides, and all you're going to do is remove with the star. Traditionally, all you're going to do is, let's say you nicked this one corner here, all you're going to do is lift it up and turn it, and now you have a completely fresh head. Now from my reviews on the internet, most people are getting, regular cabinet shops that are using this machine daily are getting 2 and 3 years out of a single side. So that is pretty amazing. I'm guessing in my lifetime, for the way I use this, I'll probably either chip one sometime and have to rotate it, or most likely never wear them out. Even on my carbide turning tools, I rarely have to turn them. So that's all this thing takes. It's a pretty darn amazing piece of equipment. The head's easy to get to. Here's your chip deflector, and then of course your chips go this way through the dust extractor. Pretty simple, pretty amazing, and it works extremely well. So as you can see, this thing goes around and around and around, and they're all offset to each other just a little bit, and you've seen the results, or will see the results of how much smoother this is than some of the traditional ones. Okay, let's move on and put this thing together. Okay, thanks. So here we go. We're all set up. We're plugged in. We got the dust extraction system hooked up. And I also have a decibel meter here I'm curious to find out about. So when it's quiet, we average 57 decibels. So turn the tool on. Bouncing back and forth between 87 to 90 decibels. Now if we turn the dust extractor on, we get the same read of 87. The sound meter doesn't like that. It bounces between 100 and 107 pretty frequently. Alright, so that was interesting. That was interesting. So next thing to do, of course, is find a piece of wood, see how the whole show works, okay? So let me go outside and see if I can find a piece we can play with. Well, alrighty. Got a few pieces to play with. So this is some liquid amber. I've had it drying for probably a whole year now. It had quite a bit of spalting in it. I did cut it originally with a chainsaw, so I'm real curious how this will work. Specifically, this is the kind of thing that I bought this for and was hoping to be able to create a better result with. Okay, so let's see about firing this up, and let's see it going here. Let's start the planer first, check the sound, and you notice I have moved it a little bit so it's well easier to photograph, and dust extraction straight on. So compared to my last planer, I really got to say this is probably half the volume. I don't even think my neighbors would be bothered at all by the noise. But when we had the dust extractor, it's a little bit. Not my cup. That's pretty impressive. I'm hoping you can see that much better. That was, what was that, 3 light passes. If you can catch it in the light. There's no snipe on this one at all. It's really smooth. Not seeing roller marks. And these are my new glasses, hey. Alright, that looks pretty darn good. Let's try another one and see what happens. Alright, this one's much thinner. This is the part I'm having to get used to, is the gauge. You kind of eyeball below this black bar that's on the back end here. Alright, same result. I do have a snipe in here this time, and I imagine it's because the bottom of the board isn't square or flat. I probably should have flipped it over after the first pass. But again, that's amazing. That is amazing. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, one thing I did notice right off the gate, sawdust on the outfeed table is nil. There's been no sawdust. You haven't seen it on my hands coming out. And chip extraction's been pretty darn fantastic. So I think we got a success. I'm pretty darn happy here. This is it does appear to be quite rock solid. That's really sweet. All right, let's try one more thing. Well, one thing we haven't done are speed change. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. Now, the instructions say you only make a speed change while the machine is running. And right now we're out all the way, so we're at 16 feet per minute, and let's change it to 20. All right. Definitely go through quicker. Nice finish. A little bit right there. I'm so amazed with the dust collection. There's still nothing on there. But let's take a look at the board. So nice and just unbelievably smooth. Unbelievable. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but this is going to work out great. This is pretty exciting stuff. So again, I'm pretty happy. It fits in my shop. It's certainly rock solid, and I like the wheel system. It works well. It locks down well. And in the beginning, when I was stepping on it, I just didn't realize it snaps into place all the way down. But so I'd have to say this is a keeper, top-notch piece of equipment. You gotta like the color, right? But the only thing I have left to change is I'm gonna put a little longer cord on, because I'm not exactly where I want to be in the shop, and this is the only 30 amp plug that I have. So I think we've done well. I hope you've found this helpful. You've enjoyed it. I certainly appreciate the result we've gotten. As we addressed it, the delivery was certainly easy enough. The unboxing was easy. Putting it together was simple. There was hardly anything to do. It did take a little extra time to level them, but that's what you're supposed to do. And fit and finish, I believe, is pretty darn top notch. So let's wrap it up. Call it. It's a keeper. And I hope you got a value out of this. Thanks again. Bye-bye. Well, hey, before we wrap up things completely, I wanted to cover a couple more things. Now, I've been able to play with the planer a few more days since I recorded everything. And I did want to bring to attention a couple of things. Now, I demonstrated the planer being able to turn easily and whatnot, but I was concerned, did we have casters underneath that were turning 360? So I laid down on the floor and took a look, and I could see that they weren't. I've taken a picture from inside the cabinet to show you. I'll bring that up in a moment. And they are 4 fixed casters. Now, my garage floor is pretty darn flat and slick, so a little lift up on the tables and we seem to be okay, but I am worried about creating flat spots on the wheel. We'll see. The other thing was, in moving this around, in my preparation of putting it all together, how tight I got everything wasn't exactly perfect. and also realizing I did not get these as level as I should have. So I went back through the process and re-leveled them, and it's made quite a difference. Perhaps you noticed as I was feeding a board in some of the videos, you could see a slight air gap here. The table was down just a little bit, and it made quite a difference to have it completely flat. And then a quick note in doing so, if any one of the 3 screws is particularly tight, you're not going to use the grub screws to raise it up and down easily. And mine was, the center one was way too tight, so they have to basically be loose enough that you can make this adjustment, and yet tight enough that it will hold it to this edge right here. So if that helps you, that's great. Also, I mentioned about changing the cord out. I've decided to create an extension cord. Rereading the manual, it says I need 10 gauge wire. All I'm going to do is go 6 feet, and I'm going to do another drop from just about where the camera is right now. That way I can have the planer in the middle of the shop with plenty of room to move around it and not a cord to have to avoid. The cord will go straight up the side and plug in on the ceiling. So that's all well and good. The other was, while I was using it, you know, the instructions tell you need to tighten these two after you set your depth. Well, hand wheels on this side, tightening wheels are on this side, and I found that it is a little inconvenient. But I think when you're at that point, if you're dimensioning your lumber, you want it just a perfect 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. So maybe you're making face frames or a cabinet door or something like that, and it's important they're all exactly the same. Then I think tightening these down would make a big difference, other than the handle does seem to hold it pretty darn well. I took the door off the side back here to take a look at the motor. The motor is finished just like this. The inside of the cabinet is all like that. I do have some still pictures I'll put on the end here. So again, everything seems to be working just fine. It's only a few days old. This is the kind of video I just wanted to show you what it looked like, how it sounded, how it ran, what it took to put together, that type of thing. This is not a review that I've owned it for a year and I have a bunch of opinions. I'm like most people at the moment. Wow, it's a great planer right out of the box, and that's the way it feels right now. I'll make another video months down the road with a little different feedback, I'm sure. So anyway, I am closing it off right now. Let's call it done. Thanks again for taking the time to watch the video. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.